Okay, I just started recording. Want to log that Steve's gonna present his research on password and incognito.
Because there are a lot of configs in the Cognito, like a user pool.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually tested most of it, not because I cannot find any way in any place in services JavaScript to tell us how to configure the user pool. So I can only follow like someone's example. So yeah. So this is the place Amazon, AWS provides us to create the user pool, and all the config like options are here. So I can share it to you. Chat. Okay. And basically, when I look into this file, the only okay. So all the options are not required, except the user pool, which means in when we configuring a service, the YAML file, the only required like
property.
Yeah, the types and the user pool name. So actually, we only need this, and all the following are not required. But let me explain something. So if you want to configure user pool, just use this link I sent to you. So all the options are here. So let me explain some of it. The basic thing is like the schema here, right? So actually, if we find schema here, I see. Okay, so it will tell you an array of schema attributes for the new user pool, right? So, but what does it mean? So if we go to a user pool, like if we want to create a new one, we can manually create it, right? And this is the pool name, and these are attributes. So the schema means this part. Which standard attributes do you want to require? So if we want a user to sign up with a username, password, these two are required by default. But if we want to add more attributes, like we require them to input email or gender, this kind of thing, we can put it here. But how we can configure in the service YAML file? It's here. We need to use this, but where to find it? Just this link here. So this is schema, and we want to configure it. And here we can find the schema. So it's a object array, right? So we can define if we require email or nickname or phone, this kind of thing.
And can we create our own? Like, do we have to use those specific names, or are those kind of just like examples?
Sorry, you want to add customer attributes or
yeah, I was just wondering if those like schema attributes are like fixed ones and you have to use like those exact like words for it, or if those are just examples of things that you could require.
Okay, so see here, do you want to add customer attributes, right? So you can enter the name and snippet. So then let's go back to the documentation. So if we want to add a customer attributes, I think we can also use the schema, but this is the only place I found where we can add attributes. Yeah. So go to schema and it will explain how to configure that. So basically give it a data type, number, string, or date time, or this kind of thing. You can just click it and find it. And if it is a developer only mutable means if the user can change it later. A name, give it name. The customer, you can use anything here. But these attributes are the given ones. But if you want to do add some customer attributes, you can just name it. I think that's. But Lucia, I think the question you asked, like you want to add the adding customer attributes because you want to when a user sign up, you want them to add more things, right? Or later when they create a planet, you want to add things to it, right? But I don't. My thought is to not do that. So my idea is just use Cognito to create a user pool, so you can sign up with the email, user, and password. And after that, when they create a planet, they will add some profile, or nickname, or school, this kind of thing. I think we just store them in our database. I mean, in DynamoDB.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it depends on you. Yeah, if you decide to use the user pool to store all of these things, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I was more just kind of wondering how those attributes kind of work. But now we know.
Okay, cool. Now let me explain this. And this page, the attribute page here, the attributes page in Cognito here. It means if you create one, you cannot change here. How do you want to add a user to sign in? So once we create a user pool, we cannot change it anymore. So if we want a user to use username or want them to use email address or phone number. Yeah. So this kind of, but we can configure it in the serverless here. So, so if we choose to configure nothing, but only the username, then Cognito will automatically create a user pool with this config here. So it will use username. And yeah, that's it. My suggestion is yeah, I create one here, so it's use here. So we need a user to use username and password, and also allow sign in with a verified email address. Yeah. And here, there's a MFA and verifications. We can turn it off, like for the multi-factor authentication. And yeah, it's how will a user be able to recover their account and choose email only? And which attributes do you want to verify, choose email? So in that case, how to say, a user can receive a verification email or a code or a link. I will show you later. So basically, the advanced security, no, just choose the default text. No devices, do you want to remember your device? No. But we can choose always if you want. Do you want to remember user's device, right? Like if we, yeah.
That's cool. And this whole like interactive page, I'm assuming was accessible once you like deployed this resource with those parameters. And I'm assuming that, wait, so you can change a lot of those parameters on the fly, except for that one at the top, which was immutable?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Great.
And I want to show you something about it, like how we want to sign and sign up. I think I did it last week, but I want to add something here. So yeah, I said last week that the simplest way to use Cognito is to work with AWS Amplify, right? So we need to use this library. And yeah, since so I'm using the oldest way to work with the library, like I directly import the source code here into my project. And yeah, I can just use the APIs. The thing is we need to configure it first, right? So region, user pro ID, and app client ID. Yeah, that's the 3 things we must use for authentication. So once we did that, we can configure the auth APIs here and sign up. Okay. I did some tests because it's not so. I mean, if we want to add an email, we need to use attributes property here. So it's like auth.sign up with the object, and in that object we must put in username, password, and also attributes, and the attributes can contain all the required and optional attributes. And there, I think I send you the. Okay. Okay. Wait. Okay. So that link is the Amplify libraries, JavaScript, documentation. And then let me test it. It's just a simple test. If we want to sign up with the username, give it a password and attributes, email. Let's see what will happen. Success. It will tell us user confirmed first, which means a user. Okay. This one still 2. Just sign up. The confirmed is how to say. Let's do this. Okay, here I got a verification link, right? Please click the link below to verify your email address. So if the email user provided, hasn't been verified, then its account, his account will be, unconfirmed, and he can not use it. Log in with it. So which means if we try here, if we sign with the email address and let's use the username. What will happen here? Okay, you can see the message here. So it will give you an error like user is not confirmed, right? Which means his email has not been verified. But if I click this link, it depends. So let me find here. So we can choose what kind of, verification process we want to use. So we can either send them choose to send them a code like here, or just send them a link. Right. If I send the link here, it's an account with the email already exists. Okay. So in that case, we cannot verify this. Account because we have two accounts with the same email address. Right. Email. Okay, two email. That's fine. I can disable user, delete user. Let's do it again. Okay. Now I can verify it by this link. Right. Okay. Your registration has been confirmed. Okay. So the link is not so, I don't know. So if we choose to use the link, then we need to do more works on this verification page. So we need to do something on it, like it's a invention universe and congratulations, like this kind of thing. Add a background or edit
Yeah, I was wondering how we go about that, because isn't it hosted on like a different page? Can we still like modify these pages and?
Yeah, definitely we can modify this page, but I haven't. Sorry. Like finish the the documentation. So there is a UI customization, right? In the we do not need to configure it in the serverless like a YAML file, because once we create it, we can modify it here. Like the message customizations will give us like here. We do not need this. One customer your email address, maybe we want, and we do not. Do you want to customize your email verification message? Yes, here. So if we choose to use the link, if we want to choose link or code, we can. Just click code or link.
Sorry, go ahead, Steve. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we can customize the messages here.
Guys,
do you want to customize your user invitation messages? This is we can try all of them.
May I chime in here, Steve, for a second on the big picture? For the July 15th release, my strong recommendation is simplify, simplify, simplify. We're not concerned about security here. Down the road, we will be very concerned about COPRA and all the privacy regulations we need to conform with. But for now, let's keep logging into the minimum number of keystrokes and not worry about privacy.
Well, okay. Then we just like what I said last week, we can automatically confirm the user, right? Use the triggers. So I've already built one in our AWS account. It's
Does that big picture perspective make sense for the July 15th result? tell me if you think we need
sure.
security.
But I'd like to keep the Cognito like config or the current user pool the way it is.
Great.
And we can So in that case, it has a feature, or it has the capability to send verification or code or link, this kind of thing.
Fantastic, Steve. So we're laying the foundation, but we're not building this until after July 15th. Great.
So there's a Lambda function named pre-sign-up test. So if we choose it, pre-sign-up test, I believe it's a pre-sign-up.
Okay. Do you have anything to add to that big picture perspective? Do we need to worry about privacy, or do we need to demonstrate that we're keeping track of certain information? Okay. We can discuss.
Oh, I didn't save my change. Save change. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Now you see the test 2 is auto confirmed, right? So that Lambda function will just auto confirm any user sign up user. So, but it's not a very like secure, I would say. But
because you just put in like a fake email, right? And it just automatically confirms it without even checking if it's real.
Yes, it will not do the verification things. So once you put in a username and password, valid username and password, our Cognito will just accept it and confirm it and active your account, and you can sign.
And so it's not even. So it's completely optional to even input an email at all. Could you like have no?
No. It's required. It's required.
Okay.
We can try this.
Lucian, do you have any objections to this lack of attention or lack of security in the first release?
Not really. I mean, we don't necessarily need a whole lot of security, but having the anchors in place to ramp it up is definitely important.
Here. Well put, Lucian. You put it perfectly.
Also, I was gonna ask, I guess to you, John, you oftentimes have told me that we want to be able to sign in with just a username and password and like no emails. So is it okay if we go about it in this way, which requires an email, and even like it allows us to have more security?
Sure. I think one of the COPRA laws is we're not able to collect emails from kids. So parents get involved here.
So couldn't we just label it as parent email or something?
Yeah, exactly.
And then legally we would be fine?
Exactly what we need to do. Yeah.
Okay. In that case, Lucian, please create a new user pool, either using the serverless YAML file or create manually. And in the attributes here, please do not require email.
Okay.
That's it. That's the only thing you need to change. But for this, I use serverless user pool. We cannot change it anymore because once it's been like created,
Yeah.
The attributes cannot be changed.
Cool.
Michael, do you have any questions about interfacing your front end to this?
I don't think so. No, I think everything is pretty.
Great. Okay.
And okay, the last thing is to secure our APIs, right? All the other, it's simple to just, add an authorizer on any APIs we've already have, right? Just add here, like give it authorizer. And what else? Yeah, that's it. And in Cognito resource, we need to give an API gateway authorizer here. But it's by default. You can just check my repository. Yeah, that's it. So once we give our the open like all the our APIs the authorizer, so others cannot use it unless you sign up and sign in. Yeah, you can try it. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Steve. Anything else, Steve, you think we should know to go forward with login and interfacing the front end with the back end with a server?
Oh, and another thing I want to mention is that if you want, you use serverless to create a Cognito user pro, right? And let's say you want to, it's not so easy to update the attributes, right? So let's say if you want to delete one, and the thing is, if you delete it here, you can directly choose it to delete this pro. But the thing is, you may also want to delete the service. Connect to it, because I'm using our service right here to generate this, create this Cognito pool. So in the S3 bucket, we have this service, our QA service, like bucket here. So actually, we wanted to also delete this bucket, and also in CloudFormation. CloudFormation, we have stacks, right? We also want to delete this auth service stack. So in that case, next time if you want to redeploy the auth services, it will not give you any error. Otherwise, you will get some weird errors. Yeah, that's just the thing I want to mention about. Yeah.
Great.
Cool. So if we actually do want to change those attributes, we can, but we have to delete everything.
Yes.
And then just redeploy.
Yeah. So yeah. It's hard to change the attribute. Yeah. So once it's done, it's done. Yeah.
I also had a question about like authorizing other functions. Is there a way that we can use like tokens or something to import that as if we imported this user pool as a resource for other functions, like say for uploading a project or something, could we authorize that function through Cognito to require that a person is logged in or something like that? Like to require like certain credentials or something for a person to be able to use a different function?
To use a different kind of function, right? So you mean?
Well, yeah, if like say they tried to click upload like a project or something, could we require that function to be authorized through Cognito? So that only like a certain user is able to do that?
Okay, so a certain user can do something, but so okay, so that's something we need to use identity pool in Cognito, but I haven't tried it yet. So I thought we only need to.
I'm sure there's other ways to go about it. I was just kind of wondering if that's possible.
It's possible, yeah. So if you want to give, okay, if you only want to use user pro, you can give it a group, but it's more complicated to implement it and to, I mean, where's my, here we can give it group, right? So we can create groups and give them use a different group, and in that case, based on that, we can give them different kind of like
I see.
abilities to use different kind of like function API. What API do you want to use on using this way?
Well, I was only thinking that we definitely want to have some way to verify a user's identity when they're trying to upload a project, so that people can't upload projects on other people's planets and stuff like that.
Oh, you mean upload projects on other planets? Do we have this feature now?
No, I'm creating the upload project, so the functionality.
So I'd say for now, just allow a user upload their projects on their own planet. And in the future, we can to decide which way we want to like use to upload projects on others' planets, because we need to choose. Maybe we want to use the identity pool, or we just use a group things to do that. Yeah.
I suggest we keep it simple for July 15th. You can only upload to your own project, your own planet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I like your general questions, Lucian, about if we want to expand functionality down the road, now is the time to lay the architecture or the foundation.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just like an interesting like service that they provide.
Yeah, sure. I think, yeah. I'm sure we can do it with Cognito. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Any other questions for Steve while we have his valuable time on logging in, verifying? Steve, anything else you want to bring our attention to before we talk a little bit about the project planning?
No.
Okay, great. Steve, we're going to spend the rest of, another 10 or so minutes just focusing on our project plan, all the tasks we need to get done to release by July 15th. You're most welcome to join that, but if you have other things to do, we'll understand. We can send you our project plan. We're particularly interested in answering the technical coding questions regarding with AWS. Okay, Steve, thank you. Before Steve goes, Hugo, did you have any questions? Okay. Listen, Lucian, can you bring up your project plan, and let's just talk about how we're going to monitor our progress to make sure we don't fall behind schedule.
I'm trying to.
So guys, this is a fairly crude project plan, but it's the basics for using a tool like Microsoft Project. We're going to use it to budget for this project, number one, and for number two, to raise any flags in case we start to get behind. So it includes, all of you have your XLL, your spreadsheet project plans in place. All we want to do now is in our weekly meetings, give us a quick report. How many hours have you spent on each task? And is it complete by the date it's supposed to be completed by? And hopefully, if we do this efficiently, we can get through the whole project plans, all 3 project plans, in less than 5 minutes at the end of our meetings. Does that make sense, Michael, Lucian, as a way to monitor how we're doing? Okay, great. Lucian, can you share your screen?
Yep.
So Lucian's going to be the keeper of these project plans, and we're going to store them on Dropbox. Let me make one comment about file naming conventions before we start. We have a very strict file naming convention protocol that we use for all development teams, and I know your file names tend to have different conventions. The conventions are, I'll send these file naming conventions out, but each file name should be very descriptive, and so that when we look at it, we'll know the difference, but we'll know what's in the file just by looking at the file name. Secondly, the file name should be hierarchical, so they sort naturally. Thirdly, no capitals, no capital letters. The reason for that is when we're doing HTML, some web servers, Unix, Linux, you recognize upper, lower. Microsoft doesn't. So it means when well, you get the idea for that. No uppercase letters in any of your file naming, in any of your file names. And let's use dashes between words, not underscores and not spaces. I'll send those file naming conventions out, and let's try to adhere to those so that it's much easier to manage our project when all of our file names conform to a particular file naming convention. Okay, go ahead, Lucian.
Oh yeah, so can you see my screen?
Yep.
Cool. So this is my project plan. I have the project goal, all of the things. This is one thing that I have done already. And then this is another thing that kind of is ongoing with a total rough estimate of hours, because I've already kind of done most of it. This is another documentation thing, just reflecting new changes and stuff as we implement new services and start finishing up the project. So that's kind of an ongoing thing. We always want to have good documentation, but it's not necessarily necessary for, whoa, what just happened? Oh, this is Thomas. I looked that up a while ago. Okay. And then also, this is like the main piece of work that I'm going to be doing for the next like half month or so, is getting this project upload service working. And once we have that, we essentially, and if we integrate the Cognito login service, well, that essentially is our whole product. So I think we'll have pretty much everything if I'm understanding correctly, because we can already navigate and we can already view like planets and edit planets, and we're about to be able to be done with the lab modifications once Thomason has finished testing out that service. So I think we're looking pretty good as far as timeline goes to be able to complete everything.
Great. Can we add in cell D5 date, just today's date? So you can, however you want to format that, June 14. Great. And then in D6, let's put % complete as the title. % complete. Okay. And then in D7, let's put 100%. Is that making sense? This way we can keep track of where we are.
John, you want to, release it in July 15th or just to start testing?
You should definitely add testing here. Great point, Steve. Thank you. Test and edit. You know, it's the 4D project management process. Discover, design, development, and deploy. And deploy is testing. And often when you make a project plan like this, you don't allocate time for testing, that's deadly. And let's not put, don't put the approximate. We got to put hours here because it's going to sum.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we got to make, that's part of being a good engineer is making accurate estimates. I know this is all brand new to you, so it's hard, but we got to do our best to make good estimates. Okay, so you know what to do here. You can put % complete on the rest of them, and that'll give us a good sense. Column D will give us a good sense when we get behind schedule.
Cool.
Michael, making sense?
Yep.
We just want to add another column, and every week at the end of our meeting, let's go through each project plan and just check that, if everyone's on schedule. If we fall behind, we'll try to chip in to help each other out to get back on schedule. Okay, I really like, make sure we format this so it's really easy to use, really easy to read. So I tend to, I tend to color code my spreadsheets a lot so that it's easy to read at a quick glance. Okay.
Yeah, I have a quick question about where we want to deploy the front-end work project. So for now, the backend project, it seems very solid to me. So we can deploy it on AWS. And for the front-end thing, my suggestion is the easiest way is to just directly deploy it on GitHub. And if we want, we can simply put it on AWS S3 to create a bucket and deploy it.
Oh, so, like create a front-end service?
Yes, not create a front-end service, just create a S3 bucket and to host the whole like React project there. And,
I see.
Yeah, and it depends. So Thompson is the in charge of the front end, right? Or Lucian, you are in charge of it. So if you,
I'm mostly on back end, but I think Thomas and Michael both work equally-ish on front end.
Okay, so my suggestion is to the simplest way is directly deploy it on GitHub webpage, and in that case you can share the link to others like me, so I can involve in the testing process. Yeah.
Great.
Very cool.
Thanks for that suggestion, Steve.
Sure.
Allocate time in your project plan for testing. And number 2, let's deploy so everyone can test. Great. Okay. Anything else before we adjourn? Productive meeting. Thank you, Steve. Thanks, Lucian and Michael. Hugo, any last comments before we adjourn?
Not yet. It's good. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay. Have a good week, guys. We got 1 month, but when I look at the project plans and the number of hours you've allocated, looks to me like this is doable. So I trust your estimates. We're going to have to keep to those estimates as best we can. All right, Lucian, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good week.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, bye.
Steve, thanks.
Sure. Bye.
Most helpful.
Yeah, bye.
Great.